In competitive markets, many businesses face challenges not because their products are lacking, but because customers have a hard time seeing what makes them different from others. This is where having a clear understanding of market position becomes very important. A competitive positioning map, or perceptual map, is a useful tool that helps businesses visualize how they and their competitors are perceived based on key customer-focused factors. These maps take detailed and complex competitive information and turn it into a simple, visual format that reveals how brands differentiate, where there are gaps in the market, and what opportunities or threats might exist. They are commonly used in areas like strategic planning, marketing, product development, and competitive analysis because they focus on what really matters to customers instead of just internal company opinions. In this presentation, we will explore what competitive positioning maps are, why they are valuable, how to create and use them, look at real-life examples, discuss their strengths and limitations, and understand their importance in today's ever-changing, customer-driven business world. A competitive positioning map is a simple chart that helps us see where different products or services stand based on two important factors, which are chosen because they affect what customers care about. These factors might be price and quality, innovation and service, or any two attributes that matter in the market. By plotting competitors on this map, we can easily spot clusters where many compete, areas where someone stands out, and gaps where there might be opportunities. The key value of this map is that it focuses not on hard numbers like sales or costs, but on how customers perceive these offerings, giving us insight into our position compared to others and helping guide smarter marketing and competitive strategies. Competitive positioning maps offer valuable insights by clearly showing the competitive landscape, highlighting who competes directly, who fills niche roles, and which players dominate mainstream markets. They reveal areas that are crowded and those that are underserved, helping businesses find chances to stand out or reposition themselves. These maps support strategic decisions in many areas, including product design, pricing, branding, and market growth. Since the axes are based on how customers perceive the market, they push companies to think from the customer's viewpoint rather than relying solely on internal beliefs. Finally, their visual simplicity makes it easier to communicate and align strategy across different teams, such as marketing, sales, and leadership, ensuring everyone understands the competitive context and strategic direction. To create a competitive positioning map, you start by defining your market and competitive set. This means being clear about the specific market segment you're targeting, identifying who your relevant competitors are, and considering any substitute or alternative solutions your customers might choose instead. The set of competitors you focus on should be narrow enough to represent realistic options customers face. Next, you need to identify the key competitive dimensions to use in your map. These dimensions must be relevant to how customers make decisions, clearly differentiate between competitors, and be measurable or easily perceived. Common examples include price versus quality, innovation versus reliability, convenience versus customization, or mass market versus premium positioning. To pick these dimensions accurately, companies often rely on customer surveys, market research, and industry analysis. The next step involves gathering perceptual data, which essentially means collecting information on how customers and the market perceive these dimensions for each competitor, helping to plot them accurately on the map. To ensure the competitive positioning map truly represents how the market sees brands, perceptual data is gathered from sources like customer surveys, brand perception studies, expert assessments, focus groups, and market research reports. This approach helps avoid bias and captures real market views. Next, competitors are plotted on the map based on their perceived positions along two key dimensions. When this is done, patterns of clustering often appear, revealing areas of intense competition or market congestion. Analyzing these patterns helps identify overcrowded spaces, untapped gaps in the market, potential threats from rivals changing their positions, and any misalignment between where the brand currently stands and where it wants to be strategically. For example, in the automotive industry, brands are commonly mapped on price versus quality. Premium brands cluster in the high price, high quality quadrant, budget brands group in the low price, basic functionality area, and mid-market brands compete fiercely in the middle. This explains why differentiating in the mid-range segment can be particularly difficult. Examples from other industries like smartphones will further illustrate these concepts. Smartphone brands are often placed on a map comparing innovation and price, where some focus on cutting-edge technology at premium prices, while others offer practical devices at more affordable rates. This creates opportunities for brands that want to offer innovation without the high price. In the airline industry, the map is usually based on price and service level, With low-cost carriers prioritizing affordability and limited service, full-service airlines offering higher prices and service quality, and hybrid models trying to find a balance between cost efficiency and basic service differentiation. For higher education institutions, reputation versus accessibility is a common way to map positioning. Elite universities tend to have high reputation but limited access, open universities prioritize accessibility and flexibility, and mid-tier institutions differentiate themselves through specialization or job outcomes. Competitive positioning maps come in different types. Product-based maps focus on physical features like performance and durability, brand perception maps highlight emotional or symbolic traits like prestige or trust, and strategic group maps show industry-level groupings based on business models, integration, or scale instead of customer perception. This helps businesses understand where they stand relative to competitors and identify potential opportunities in the market. Competitive positioning maps offer several clear benefits. They simplify complex competitive information into a visual format that's easy to understand, making it simpler to spot differences, overlaps, and crowded areas in the market. This visual approach helps focus on how customers actually see the market, rather than relying solely on internal ideas. It also supports important strategic decisions like product development, branding, pricing, and entering new markets. However, these maps do have limitations. By reducing competition to just two dimensions, they might miss key factors such as distribution channels, costs, or regulations. The maps can be subjective if they're based more on internal opinions than real customer data, which may introduce bias. Additionally, because they represent a single moment in time, they might not capture fast market changes. Lastly, what looks like a promising cluster of competitors could actually indicate tough price competition and lower profits, so it's important to interpret the maps carefully. To get the most out of competitive positioning maps, it's important to base them on data directly from customers and update them regularly to reflect market changes. Using multiple maps that highlight different aspects of competition can provide a more comprehensive view. These maps should also be integrated with financial and strategic analyses to ensure alignment between what a company intends to achieve and what it can realistically deliver operationally. In today's environment, advancements such as digital analytics, AI-driven sentiment analysis, and real-time market tracking make these maps more dynamic and actionable, transforming them from simple charts into powerful tools for competitive intelligence. While positioning maps have their drawbacks, like oversimplifying complex markets or relying on subjective perceptions, their value grows when used thoughtfully alongside other analytical methods and grounded in solid data. Ultimately, organizations that actively understand and manage their competitive position through these tools are better positioned to create lasting advantages and deliver sustained value over time.